Good morning. It is Thursday, November the 11th. I'm Shane Seeley, and this is the CBC Morning Report. The Barbados Association of Medical Practitioners is calling for the immediate suspension of the legislation governing safe zones in Barbados. The call came as BAM issued a statement yesterday following a virtual meeting on Tuesday night with the Minister of Health and Wellness and other medical professionals. It was during that meeting that members of BAM, the Barbados Nurses Association, and the Barbados Dental Association voiced concern about the policy on safe zones, asking for a greater level of clarity. BAM President Dr. Linda Williams is calling for further consultation after doctors in the association voted by a 75% majority to suspend the policy.
Existing precedents and is an accepted standard worldwide, along with COVID-19 testing according to risk. We are disappointed, however, that the Emergency Management COVID-19 Safe Zones Directive 2021, while apparently attempting to achieve public health objectives, was developed in haste and apparently without consultation. We believe that the concept of a safe zone, in which the public would have to reveal vaccination status or test results, should not be applied for access to health care. While we accept the Ministry of Health and Wellness's explanation that this was not the intent, the ambiguity in the wording of the legislation has led to unacceptable confusion for patients in the past few days. We believe that there are also implications for the terms and conditions of work for healthcare employees with respect to existing labour legislation that seem not to have been considered. Healthcare workers who have sacrificed tirelessly throughout this pandemic should not bear the brunt of government's missteps.
While prospects for tourism in the coming months are looking very promising on paper, the success of the winter tourist season will also hinge on the level of COVID-19 vaccination on the island. The chairman of the Barbados Tourism Marketing Incorporated, Roseanne Myers, has been speaking to the Morning Report, putting the issue into perspective. According to her, there is growing concern and competition across the globe for market share in the industry, and having more tourism workers vaccinated will put Barbados in a better position to capitalize on the high demand for leisure travel right now.
When the world is completely open, or more open than it is, because there's still destinations that haven't fully opened, in summer 2022, we're going to be fighting for our lunch. So the best defense, you have an island where you have a population that is 70–80% of the eligible persons are vaccinated, you have a testing regime in place, and you are still following some level of protocol that allows you to have parties, to have events, entertainers can get back to work. That is really what this change means.
The BTMI chairman comments come as the national vaccination rate closes in on the 50% mark and around 60% for the eligible population. Ms. Myers is of the strong view vaccination and regular testing are the only ways to bolster Barbados' tourism brand as it emerges from the coronavirus pandemic.
Because you really need to get to the point where people can make some money. I mean, there are a lot of people in the entertainment field, well, you probably know better than I, who have not been able to perform and get out there because of the restrictions. The vaccination rate will help us to put those persons back to work. And if you don't do it for yourself and your family, do it for the economy, find some reason to try and see how we can get people back to work. If you're not vaccinated, go get tested.
5 more people succumbed to coronavirus here in Barbados, and the COVID-19 new cases back in the 300s. Details to these stories and more up next in our COVID-19 updates. 5 people, 2 women and 3 men, are the most recent victims of COVID-19 here in Barbados. An 88-year-old woman died on Sunday, November the 7th at the Accident and Emergency Department of the Queen Elizabeth Hospital. 3 of the deaths occurred on Tuesday, November the 9th. A 60-year-old woman who passed away at the Harrison Point Isolation Facility, an 87-year-old man who died at the A&E department, and an 89-year-old man as well who was at the Queen's College Isolation Facility. Additionally, a man aged 84 lost his fight with COVID-19 yesterday at the Blackman and Gollop Isolation Facility. All of the deceased were Barbadians and all were unvaccinated. Their deaths bring the total number of persons who have succumbed to the virus here in Barbados to 188. Meanwhile, looking at more figures, a total of 335 people, 155 males and 180 females were identified as COVID-19 positive yesterday by the Best dos Santos Public Health Laboratory. The facility conducted 2,078 tests. Of the new cases, 79 individuals were under the age of 18. There are now 899 people in isolation facilities across Barbados and 6,413 people in home isolation. Despite insisting the U.S. COVID-19 vaccination travel policy is good for the Bahamas, the Minister of Tourism there, Chester Cooper, says there are no plans to introduce similar travel requirements for visitors. Currently, all cruise ship passengers 12 years and older must be fully vaccinated, but the rule does not apply for visitors who come by plane.
That is not a consideration at this time. We have the protocols in terms of testing we already have in place. We're very comfortable with the protocols we have now.
The new U.S. policy, which requires international travelers to be fully vaccinated, took effect on Monday.
That has been positive for our country. Firstly, as a result of it coming and Bahamians being aware that it was coming, we saw an uptick in terms of vaccinations. So many persons who were hesitant ordinarily, who like to travel to Florida, considered it as a last-ditch effort to get vaccinated, to be able to travel to Florida. I am delighted that people consider it as positive for their health.
Meanwhile, Guyana expects tourism arrivals could exceed last year's figure as visitors continue to increase their spend and their arrivals despite the COVID-19 pandemic. The Guyana Tourism Authority is optimistic this year and beyond will be a success.
Tourism is one of the sectors most affected by the COVID-19 pandemic, impacting economies and livelihoods. But the Guyana Tourism Authority is anticipating a boost in visitors' arrival with the reopening of the economy. GTA Director Kamru Bashk told NCN News that there has already been an increase in visitors' arrival compared to 2020 during the onset of the pandemic. While it is not at the same level in 2019, Bashk says there is 50 to 60% average thus far on arrivals.
So far, the figures up until August of this year, which we've captured so far totally from the ports, we've already surpassed that figure of last year. So that is a clear indication that the visitor arrivals number are increasing.
Bashk says the GTA has been working around the clock to ensure that businesses receive all the additional approvals. The GTA, he added, is projecting the arrival numbers to increase between 65 to 80% by 2022.
The response from the sector at large has been positive, very receptive, and I'm happy that we have started to go on the right trajectory towards recovery and further development. What we want to see as a destination is further sustainable development here.
As Guyana moves into a new phase of development, the GTA is envisioning different strategies to further develop the sector. The country has already surpassed 2020 arrivals despite the strict COVID-19 travel guidelines. At the end of this year, the authority anticipates over 160,000 tourist visits.
It's a wet Thursday on the outside, so be careful when you hit the roads. Let's go over to Pearson now to hear what he has coming for you on today's edition of Morning Barbados. Pearson, it's over to you.
Thank you, Shane. Good morning, everyone. When you join me on 6:30 on Morning Barbados, you know what we do. The equation is Thursdays equal exceptional youth. That's your new equation for today. And so one of those who you'll meet this morning is one who has been enchanted with the creative arts from quite young. So she's done everything possible. Now she's landed herself as a YouTube sensation. If you know of Gabriella Christina on YouTube, you get to meet her and perhaps get to know more about what she's offering there as well. There's a 23-year-old Jamaican who has, from the age of 17, started her own non-profit organization of excellence. And so now she's in 7 jurisdictions, including Barbados. We'll share her enterprising story with you a little later on. And if you've also been listening to radio, you've been realizing in the morning there have been some morning devotions this week done by the YMCA. The young man, Samuel Boston, who's behind that, we get to meet him. So those are just a few of the young people we'll be sharing with you this morning when you join me at 6:30. It's back to you, Shane.
Thank you, Pearson. An alert going out to businesses from the Barbados Revenue Authority. You'll hear what that's all about right here on the Morning Report. Over 26,000 businesses here in Barbados have been written about their business status and their corporation tax. The communications manager with the Barbados Revenue Authority, Carolyn Williams-Gill, told CBC it's a cleanup exercise geared at Barbados's international compliance. She said the authority's offices have been inundated with calls about the letters. CBC also reached out to Minister in the Ministry of Finance, Ryan Strawn. He says, given recent international financial investigations, there was a need to be sure that businesses were functioning in areas they're registered in, and if non-functional, then they should file affidavits or delist. He added that Barbados intends to be compliant within the international framework.
This is really just an administrative requirement, because in the follow of the Panama Papers and the Pandora Papers and all these other so-called investigative reports, you keep coming up with companies that are registered, and people are asking questions about the nature and operations of these companies. And therefore, Barbados, as a jurisdiction, we're just seeking to ensure that we can supply the relevant information with respect to what is taking place. But they were significant because, as you would appreciate, as we have done in the past, persons will register a company and for various reasons not actually do any activity.
The Ministry of Education has been moving to improve Wi-Fi connectivity at schools. The Education Minister, Santia Bradshaw, says it's one of several types of improvements undertaken at school plants. She says electrical upgrades have also been carried out.
We've been introducing the fence-to-fence across the school plants. Many of the institutions, as the public would be aware, We've had some number of challenges with teachers not being able to access Wi-Fi in different areas of the school plant. And we believe that, especially now that technology really is here to stay, that students are now more familiar with using the devices, and so are the teachers, that we've had to start an approach towards ensuring that all of the schools move in the direction of having Wi-Fi connectivity across the school plants. And so this year we started with a number of our secondary schools and also some of our nursery schools as well, to ensure that those students, when they return, that they will be welcomed with the Wi-Fi connectivity at the correct speed, but also across with accessibility across the plant as well.
Efforts to expose more young Barbadians to technical and vocational training and education from an earlier age are ongoing. From next year, children as young as 11 will have the opportunity to participate in a Future Skills Camp. We hear more from Sharika Griffith.
After previous World Skills competitions, we recognized that we introduced TVET to our young people too late, and that's what affected our performance at World Skills competitions.
Technical delegate for World Skills Barbados, Dario Walcott, explaining the rationale behind the push to get younger people involved in technical and vocational education. In 2019, the inaugural World Skills Barbados Juniors competition was held to allow secondary school students between 14 and 16 to demonstrate their excellence in cabinet making, cooking, electrical installation, and hairdressing. This year, the competition had to be postponed due to the COVID-19 pandemic, but Mr. Walcott says young people between 14 and 18 were still able to gain new skills during a Juniors Future Skills Camp, a first for Barbados and the region.
We decided, let's get together this camp, let's introduce some new skills to our young people, because we had our competition and it included electrical installation, hairdressing, those traditional skills. So this time around, we decided to include 3D digital game art. And to most of you, that may not seem like a future skill, but for us here in Barbados, we don't have any qualifications in that area, in animation or so on, that students can go and participate in. So that would tell you how far behind we're lagging. We also had aerial robotics, building information modeling, as you saw on the screen there just now, or digital construction. We had Internet of Things and mobile applications development. And one thing that was very interesting about this is about 2 days into registration, we were fully booked. Registrations were full but within 2 days. And 80% of the participants were males.
The virtual camp was delivered by experts from World Skills Russia. Mr. Walcott explained the benefits to participants.
So the codes and so on that they developed programmed the robots in Russia. So they were able to see the robots moving and drones and everything, and in Internet of Things, they were working with traffic lights. They were also able to connect those things to career options. Aerial robotics, there was someone there who showed the career pathway. These are the things that you can do with the aerial robotics skill. In Internet of Things, the fact that they were using traffic lights, it showed the connection to a smart city. So it's really important, as I said before, for a small island developing state to have access to World Skills community.
The World Skills Barbados Juniors Future Skills Camp will now be an annual feature on the TVET calendar, and based on demand, the age group will be expanded to also include children ages 11 to 13. Sharika Griffith, CBC News.
Mixing of young offenders with adults in the criminal justice system here could soon be a thing of the past through the new Juvenile Justice Bill being worked on. The chairman of the Government Industrial School, Apostle Dr. Lucille Beard, revealed inmates ages 16 to 18 years old will no longer be sent to Her Majesty's Prison at Dodds. Instead, they will be sent to a GIS facility.
The GIS facility is now being retrofitted to taking the females from the St. Lucy's facility, and they'll be retrofitted as a security facility based on the fact that you're going to be getting the 16-year-olds and up to 18. And we know as Barbadians that those youngsters between 16, 17, and 18 are now being trained on the blocks and in the villages and wherever in criminality. And so we're trying to be able to do what we can to see if we could, salvage those guys and not have them to have to mix with the most seasoned and hardened criminals.
In an attempt to tackle domestic violence in Jamaica, MP there, Heroy Clark, wants to move a motion for paternity tests to be done at birth. More in this report.
The cases of domestic violence that leads to murder are high, Madam Speaker. According to Dr. Herbert Gill, doing a study conduct here in Jamaica, one of the causes of domestic violence stems from paternal issues. Madam Speaker, as a legislator, I will be moving a motion for the DNA paternity test to be done at the birth of the child in order to determine fatherhood of that said child. This, Madam Speaker, I believe will stem majority of the domestic violence in our society.
In international news, China and the United States, the world's two largest carbon polluters, have unveiled a deal to ramp up cooperation tackling climate change, including reducing methane emissions, protecting forests, and phasing out coal. In a joint statement announced by the United Nations Climate Change Conference, or COP26, in Glasgow, the countries said that they had reached an agreement to redouble efforts to fight climate change with what they term concrete actions.
It's a dramatic moment too. No one was expecting this. In the wake of a pretty downbeat message you heard there from the UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson, suddenly this joint declaration, were announced in an unusual way, with the US climate envoy Kerry, as you just mentioned, declaring that the two biggest economies in the world were going to work together to raise climate ambition. Not only are they the two largest economies in the world, they're the biggest polluters in the world. And this has been the real issue, particularly China, that would not commit to the same sort of standards as many other countries. So really, there is still some more detail to come, in fact a lot more detail to come, but there's a definite agreement, it seems, on the emissions gap with methane in particular, and a need to accelerate action to increase, to actually decrease, should I say, emissions of CO2 as well. So these, the so-called greenhouse gases, are the real nub of the problem here, the issue, the major issue that's been hanging over all of the negotiations has been the not lack of will, but the lack of ability of flex for countries to commit to bigger cuts in emissions. Yes, there were some successes on the sidelines with these deals described as the coalitions of the willing, but these had all sorts of issues over promises, whereas this deal, it would seem at first sight, between China and the US, is going to make some concrete decisions, and there's been a number of other reactions. I mean, the reaction I received, because I was with Frans Timmermans, I'm just looking at the notes now, Frans Timmermans, about to interview him live when this announcement came through. Now, Timmermans was in on it. He'd been briefed confidentially that Timmermans, who is, by the way, the leader of the European Union's delegation here, he had been in on the whole thing, and he said that this was really a really important development, that he felt it was a surprise to him. He didn't expect it, and he felt it had some dynamic detail with it. It had the promise of bigger things to follow. So what are we seeing here? We're seeing this come after a statement from Boris Johnson in which he was more or less trying to kick state leaders into action by telling them that they needed courage, that they had to actually tell their negotiators to go further, to actually go for the 1.5, stick to the 1.5 degrees Celsius limit enshrined in the Paris Agreement of 2015 and stay with it. And he really was as close to getting onto his knees as he could get in diplomatic terms.
Sporting news now, and New Zealand are into their first ever ICC Men's T20 World Cup final. The Black Caps produced an all-round performance to beat tournament favourites England by 5 wickets in Abu Dhabi yesterday. Chasing 167 for victory in semi-final number 1, New Zealand, led by an unbeaten knock of 72 from 47 from Daryl Mitchell, eased to 167 for 5 with 1 over to spare. Mitchell struck 4 fours and 4 sixes and shared an 82-run third wicket stand with Devon Conway, who chipped in with 46 off 38 balls. Chris Wokes had 2 for 36 and Liam Livingston 2 for 22. Earlier, England sent in to bat, put 166 for 4 on the board, with Moeen Ali top scoring with an unbeaten 51 off 37 and David Malan 41 from 30. Here are the highlights. Get into the target 167 with 1 over to spare. They will now take on either Australia or Pakistan in Sunday's final as they look to add to T20 glory and add that T20 glory to their ICC World Test Championship they won earlier this year. Let's look at the weather now. The temperature right now 26.9 degrees Celsius. Those early morning showers keeping things nice and cool. The apparent temperature still under that 30 degrees Celsius mark, with the relative humidity at 71%. The barometric pressure this morning is 1012.1 millibars, and those winds are coming gently out of the east at 20 kilometers per hour. We see a high tide this morning at 10 minutes after 10. There will be a low tide around 16 minutes to 4 in the afternoon. Those seas are smooth to moderate in open water. Swells are between 1 and 1.5 meters and holding steady. We'll get a mix of sunshine and clouds today with occasional brief scattered light showers. And tonight here in Barbados, a mix of clear skies and clouds with a few brief scattered light showers. Today and tonight over the Lesser Antilles, this is the picture. It will be partly cloudy to occasionally cloudy with some scattered light to moderate showers. And here's a quick look at the international weather forecast. And that's it for the Thursday edition of the CBC Morning Report. I'm Shane Seeley. Morning Barbados starts now.
Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Barbados, get up. Good morning. Good morning, Barbados. Good morning. Good morning to you. Good morning. Morning, morning, morning.
From beautiful Barbados, we say good morning to you everywhere. Good morning, everyone. It is Thursday, the 11th of November, 2021. I am Pearson Bowen, welcoming you everywhere to what we do today. Those of you on our YouTube channel, good to have you. On our Facebook streams as well, thank you for joining us. It's Thursday, and as I said before, Thursdays always equal our emerging and exceptionally young people. One of who you'll meet today is a young man who has decided to, as a very creative man, form his own company, Nexus. And so he'll talk to us a little bit about the journey to that point, to this point, and what he has planned for his future. We'll also meet a young woman who decided on June the 1st, 2020, she was going to awaken all of her sleeping talents as a means of survival, and now she's living her best life. She'll share her story as well. We'll also meet a 10-year-old ecopreneur out of Pakistan. She's doing some phenomenal work in her little space of the world, hoping to impact the globe as well. So it's just some young people who we'll meet as well today. But let's get started by going to meet this young Barbadian woman who has now moved her talent online. On state line, she's known as Christina, Gabriella Christina, and this morning she's known as Gabriella Bovell. Gabriella, good morning.
Good morning.
How are you doing?
I'm fine. How are you?
I'm doing very well. Thank you for asking. You are quite a YouTube's online sensation. Congratulations.
I'm trying.
You're doing well. You're doing well thus far. So
Thank
congratulations on that. You said in your bio that from a very young age, you just dabbled in creative industries and you just loved it. Yeah. So much so that you went on then to the Alexandra School and allowed that to be a part of what you wanted to be. So talk to me about your beginning and all you've done thus far.
Okay, well, I first started at summer camp. I went to up in the north, and with summer camps, you have a lot of other extra activities. So some people could choose, you know, woodwork, arts and crafts, and there was drama. So of course, I chose that. And our drama group did well. The children were really dedicated, and we went on to NIFCA. It was a really interesting piece as well. It was a piece set in like a ZR setting, and you saw the functions, the perspectives, and the misconceptions of everyday people, basically. And it was done with it was really interesting. It was really creative. So from there, I went on to secondary school, and one of the subjects I chose was media and performing arts, which encompassed everything I do now. So not just the theatrical side, the on-stage acting. It also gave you a little bit of insight to media, how that stuff works. From there, I still continued in literature and now YouTube.
And so you find yourself now in the YouTube space, the online space. How has that been going so far?
It is very different to acting because it's me. There's not a role that I have to go and be a person or a character I have to go and be me, bearing myself to the world basically. But very interesting. It's a learning process for sure, but it's been very interesting.
So what was it that propelled you to actually start your YouTube channel, Gabriella Christina?
I was honestly tired of not being active in the stuff I like to do. Like I wasn't acting much. There was a bit here, and I just was dedicated to put a Barbadian twist on the international trends I've been seeing on YouTube, and to showcase our island, because I can remember around the time when I started, there was a mega trend on YouTube, this hide and seek challenge, and I was like, I could do that over here, and probably I got a group of my friends to go down to Farley Hill National Park, and we played an epic game of hide and seek. That was my first YouTube video.
And what has been the response thus far, though, to all of your creativity on YouTube?
Oh, it's been great. It's been great, especially that first video. I use a lot of other local YouTubers and personalities, major collaboration. And I think the twist I put on certain videos and certain trends has been greatly received. My only setback would be COVID and stuff. I haven't been able to go out there as much as I would. So I do a lot of the house at home type challenges stuff, but all good stuff so far.
In terms of positioning yourself for the future and making sure that you get in place all of the things you require, is this something you want, first of all, that you want to take far more seriously and to become have it as a view of earning revenue? And if so, what are you putting in place to be able to do so?
Oh my gosh. And the motorcycle just passed. I missed that, sorry.
Noise pollution. So I was asking whether or not you were going to take this seriously, the work you do on YouTube. And you know, a lot of people make quite a lot of money from YouTube as well by the work they do. And if you're going to take it seriously, what are you doing now to make sure that it works for you and pays you?
Okay, I was trying not to let, the money be my driving force because it's still a far ways for me to go. I have to get 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours to even be monetized. So I try not to let that be my driving force. It is in the cards. It is a plan. I still want to be heavily involved in acting for sure. So I don't want YouTube to be my overall main thing, but I don't think I could see myself stopping YouTube. It's refreshing. As I said, it's different to what I'm used to, and I'm learning every day with it, whether it's learning how to edit, learning how to, I don't know, I just learn a lot.
You're learning a lot, but you've also partnered with a number of people throughout your journey thus far. You've worked with, people like Rommel Hall, Simon Aline, Boardhouse Productions. What's the value of all of that to you thus far?
It's been great. With every project I'm on or every person I work with, I learn something from it, something that could be used in my own channel or my own life as a creative. And I just think we have so much talent in Barbados. People need to stop sleeping on Barbadians. We have a lot of talent over here. So I'm just really excited whenever I get the chance to work with anybody who has similar interests or even different interests, because I can always learn something.
You hear all the stories, the horror stories of what happens to people when they put themselves online. They feel bullied, their attention is not always necessarily positive. What are you doing to safeguard yourself against those who feel that they need to say something about you?
I try my hard to pay attention to what I say, be intentional with the words that leave my mouth, because I know I can't take them back when I put them out, oh my gosh, when I put them out there. But you can't avoid it all the time. You're always going to be some people that don't necessarily agree with you or going to have something negative to say. And it's harsh. A lot of people would be like, I don't let it bother me. But it would affect you in a way. Just be aware of the fact that that's a possibility and try your hardest to be true itself. And if you do that, then it is what it is.
Yeah, it is what it is. I'm watching some of your work on the screen there for a moment. And it's so organic. You're doing what you do. Everybody eats. Everybody has a friend who they want to just gossip with. And you're doing all of that, but you're still putting it out in the most creative way, coming up with the ideas and the concepts. How fun is that for you?
It is very fun. I am not too technical. I'm still learning, as I said, but as I film and as I rewatch the footage, I can see things in my mind like, okay, here's what I want to do with this shot. I want to zoom in here. I want to do this here. I want to add this animation here. So it comes together slowly sometimes, but I get it done because the vision is there. It's just trying to figure out how exactly to do it, to execute it.
And this one we're watching is like girlfriends just having a conversation, but I see a big foot in the back. Whose foot is that?
Do you remember? Pardon?
Whose
foot in the back?
Yeah, didn't you see that foot in the back?
My friend, yes, I saw. I didn't realize till afterwards. My friend Jalisa, she was in the back.
But I love it. I love it because, it's the whole thing. It's natural. It's funny. It gets your attention, whether positive or negative. The point is, it gets your attention. And that's what it's all about as you go forward in your creative space. So which is it that you love better, being in front of or behind the camera?
Oh, that's a good question. I think, honestly, I like them both equally because I love to be in front of the camera. I love to do my thing. I love to show people who I am. But there are so many different avenues behind the technical stuff, and it's mind-blowing. I don't think you can learning, and it's a very helpful skill to have to be able to not only perform or whatnot, but be able to edit my own videos and enhance my work.
What do you say to young people watching today who are saying, I want to be able to say like, subscribe here, click the bell, those kinds of things that you do on YouTube.
Yeah.
What advice would you give to them, those who are interested in getting into the space like you have so far?
Okay, my advice would honestly be to just do it. Just go for it. For a while I wanted to start, you didn't because I didn't have the equipment, I didn't have the technical knowledge, and around the time I started last year, I was like, let me just do it. I only had myself. I never knew anything about editing. And my first video was really, really challenging because I had a lot of videos from different sources. I would have had from GoPro footage, from everyone's that was there playing the game, cell phone, and another camera. And I told myself, like, if I could put all of this together, then I could go ahead and edit normal videos, my everyday videos. So I would say just go for it. If you have a camera, just start somewhere and it will come as time goes on. But just be yourself, be true to you. Don't try to be like anybody else. Be true to you and just go for it.
What do your parents say about what you're doing?
They're not allowed to watch my videos.
Why not?
So close to me is so embarrassing. I put a video out there knowing that somebody like that close to me, like it's kind of like a really vulnerable place, ironically, because I'm out there. But they're not allowed to watch my videos.
That is so funny. I love it. They're not allowed to watch your videos. I just absolutely love it. Gabriella, it is such a warm pleasure meeting you this morning. I wish you only the very best, you know, going forward. What's your next? What do you think would be the next thing you want to do to make a success of what you're doing at the moment?
I think I would want to do something more on the technical side, whether it is make a short film, something like that, just to be behind the camera. I mean, behind the camera.
Yes.
For what? Just, to explore that avenue. I feel like I've done a bit of everything else before, so I just would really like to try my hand at the technical stuff.
Fantastic. You are such an inspiring young woman, and we wanted to showcase you this morning. Gabriella Bovell is her real name. Gabriella Christina.
Yeah, that's your real name.
But on YouTube, we find you as Gabriella Christina. She's an actress. She's a film content creator. She's all of those things. She's just funny, and she's really good. And so we want to salute you this morning as one of our exceptional young Barbadian people who make us extremely proud. So Gabriella, all the best going forward. We can find you on Instagram. We could find you everywhere by the name Gabriella Christina. You are into family, lifestyle, vlogs, and beauty. So much you do at such a very young age, and we commend you on doing it. So thank you for inspiring me this morning. Thank you for staying so positive.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. Gabriella Bovell is her name. This is Morning Barbados. We're going to take a break and we're coming back with even more exceptional young people this Thursday morning. We have 14 minutes now to go to the hour of 7 o'clock here on this Thursday morning. Remember, Thursdays equal exceptional youth. This exceptional youth we will share with you now is a Jamaican, quite young, but she is already quite exceptional. Her name is Janine Shepherd. Good morning to you, Janine.
Good morning. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for joining us, Janine. Look at you right there. So happy to see you. 23 and you're already making quite a huge global impact. Tell me a little bit about what drives you.
Well, first of all, before I even begin to answer, I just want to say thanks to the Morning Barbados team. You know, just looking at it as a Jamaican, I think it's really great that Barbados has created the space to highlight young people. But jumping into, why, what makes, what I do tick and everything that I do tick and the whole global impact thing, I guess I can probably jump a bit into, what Youth for Excellence is, because, that's why I'm here this morning. Does that sound fair?
I'm gonna get there, but I'm talking, I want to get to know a little bit about you too, as well as we go, because one of the things that you live by, you said you are not a dream chaser, but a goal hunter. And there must have been a reason why you say that about yourself. Why do you say that about yourself?
I think that, growing up and how, just how I was raised, I was always told as a child that, everybody can have a dream for something. And what separates a dream from, something that actually becomes implemented is when you take concrete action steps to actually make it happen. So you got to actually sit down and write down plans as to how it can come to fruition, because everybody can talk a big talk and say, oh, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that, but it never gets done because you never really think through the idea and see if it's feasible or not, or even if it seems not feasible right now because let's say you don't have the resources at the moment, but at the same time you have this dream and you make no plans as to how to get the resources. It's futile, it's pointless. So I think it's that reality check for me that also brings me back to earth and keeps me grounded in realizing, yes, I have all these big goals and some might seem a bit lofty, but then it's like, how do I make it not lofty by actually thinking them through?
At what point in your development until now did you stumble upon that and realize, that's my mantra, this is what I live by? How old were you, do you think, when you decided this is who you are?
I definitely think that started since, primary school level. I have always been somebody who would pursue a bunch of things, not just academically, but non-academically as well. So in order to juggle every single thing, basically every club that existed, I was basically president of, or going for scholarships or something. And then that continued straight through high school, straight through college. So, I mean, it's kind of just, I had to set realistic expectations with myself and say, okay, what do I want to prioritize here? And then I'm going to go full on into that. And that's kind of just how I've lived my life. It makes no sense that I'm spread across so many things and I'm not able to accomplish it because I'm not in them through.
Right. You've accomplished so much so far. I'm going to zoom through your life in just a moment. Now, you've attained 15 distinctions at CSEC. 15 distinctions. Fantastic. While in the 16 to 19 age category, you and your cohorts, you developed a solar water pump, which received great acclaim at that young and tender age. And since then, you have been receiving the Prime Minister's Awards and so forth in Jamaica. You've now formed, and you are the founder and board co-chair and president of Youth for Excellence Limited. Tell me now about Youth for Excellence.
Okay, so Youth for Excellence is like my baby, my child. I've carried it for the past 6.5 years. And yeah, up there on the screen right now, that's actually what I got the Guyana award for, which is the most prestigious award in the world for social action and humanitarian work. So YFE, or Youth for Excellence, is a nonprofit that's based in 7 Caribbean countries, Barbados being one of them. I started off in my home country of Jamaica, and we recently incorporated in the USA, so that makes it 8 countries this year. And what we do is we provide holistic education support for underserved children, basically grades 4 to 6, who are sitting their exit examinations, and we try to give them access to educational content, resources, whether it's their tablets or stationary equipment that they need, as well as comprehensive health care, food. We've provided food baskets and groceries for months at a time for children. And even those pictures that are coming up now, that was from our back to school event at the Prime Minister's office, where we gave like 36 different children, tablets from Digicel, bus passes, 2 months worth of bus passes for them to go to and from school. We also gave them e-learning logins for them to use with those tablets that they got, as well as, comprehensive health checkups, 3 months worth of food. I think Grace Kennedy, Separate and Purity chipped in there. And, that's kind of just how we've operated. But we've expanded beyond that to also look at the parents and the families, because you have a child at home in Barbados, you're a single parent, right? And you have your child getting these resources, but, the child is still coming home to the same environment where it's like, you're not really able to support them as much as you would want. And people seem to not really get the fact that a lot of these parents in these situations, it's not that they wouldn't give their children better opportunities if they had it. So we try to provide them with some opportunities for career and personal development, whether it's, job training or resume workshops, entrepreneurship workshops. Those are the stuff that we try to do with the parents as well. And recently we've been trying to work with CXC to give them assistance with additional subject costs. So then mom and dad could take some extra courses that they could put on their resume to actually, get better employment and better provide for their kids.
A lot of times we do things either because we've experienced it ourselves and we want to make the change, or we do things because we see something and we think we have the capacity to do something about it. Which is it for you to make this
I would
reality?
definitely say it's a bit of both. It's both, for sure. Like I said, growing up, I have always known that I had to push myself in order to excel, right? I know that even to go to college, I'm there now on like a full ride of USD 80K a year. And that was only possible because, I had to work my butt off and study really hard and get a scholarship. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been able to afford my education. And that's just something that I speak very candidly about. And I was afforded certain opportunities. And even though I had to work and, even I'd have classes from 8 a.m. right back to 9 p.m. in the daytime, and it wouldn't fit into my schedule. And I had to even sometimes, save up some of my lunch funds and make sure I pay for extra classes because I wouldn't be learning those in the school schedule. But then you have other kids who, as much as, they're trying, they don't have that access. So even though I would have wanted more opportunities, I also recognize that I do come from a privileged position, and I am very grateful for the doors that were open to me. So even though I'm not like a Bill Gates or a Warren Buffett, I realize that I still can do something. So it's a bit of both, where it's like, I know I have a lot of potential and I want to do so much, and people had to give me a chance and give me some opportunities. So now, having understood that, I know what it feels like, and I want to take similar youth in positions where they're high achieving and ambitious, they just don't have anybody to bet on them.
And so you are now, this organization is found in many jurisdictions, now 8. How is it knocking on the doors to get the support that you know you need so that this whole establishment, the Youth for Excellence Limited, lives its purpose and really makes an impact on the communities it serves? I'd love to be able to hear from you. What did the adults say to you? This little girl, 23 years old now, who came asking for assistance and they said yes. How was that experience for you?
I would say that when I first started, it was extremely difficult because I started off at 17, and a lot of these corporations were like, who is this little girl asking us for like, these hundreds of thousands of dollars in support? It was basically a struggle. It still is to this day, mostly because of like, our age and stuff, but we have built up a track record to know where, the UN and several different governments have collaborated with us on projects. I will say that the Barbadian government actually has been very, very supportive of us since we entered the stand. They've always, encouraged a spirit of collaboration. We even just came off 2 different projects with the Ministry of Education in Barbados. So, I mean, in that sense, it's very progressive, but I can't say that it's the same for, every new space that we go into. It's always the same thing of having to prove ourselves all over again.
Yes.
And that track record, and then they look at the age and they're like, I remember one time I reached out to someone and I was like, hey, we're trying to do this thing. This is our track record. Before she even looked through the track record, she saw my age and she was like, are you serious? And I was like, look at the record and then come back. Luckily, she looked and decided to have a second conversation. But
Yes.
that's what happens a lot of the times. I'm just being fully blunt there.
And that's what often frustrates a lot of young people like yourself as well, whether it is that as an endeavor or even work, just trying to get a job. And so what do you want to say to us adults when it comes to how young people want to move forward and make a difference? What do you want us to begin to change so we are more accepting of?
I would say it's a couple things, right? Because then something that I've noticed is that a lot of people talk. Luckily, like I said, working in the Barbadian space, your people seem to be a lot more progressive and a lot more about action and backing it up. I mean, it even shows I'm on this program right now talking to you, right? So so that's something that I would love to see reflected in a bunch of other spaces. Just listening in the first place. A lot of people don't even do that. They think that we have nothing to add, or that our limited life experience makes our contributions, invalid. So that's the first thing. But the second thing that I would say that needs to change is not just listening, but actually implementing some of the stuff that we recommend. Or if it's like, oh, these young people with these big dreams, okay, we have big dreams. Tell us how it can work, though. Based on your experience, how can we bring it into something that's feasible? If you have all this experience, a lot of times young people struggle with articulating the ideas into a way that's, easily understood and easily to be implemented. So you have, even in the education space, you have a lot of people with the doctorate education or the master's in this. Why don't you collaborate with more young people in the education system to tell, for them to tell you exactly what it is that they are facing? So many people are out of touch, even in this pandemic, the struggles that students are facing, because they're simply not listening. You have a bunch of persons in a room who aren't in school right now deciding what's happening to students. So that's something else as well. But the last thing I want to bring the point to, that's probably the most important for young people, is funding. Not just for nonprofit work, but just any idea that young people have. Because again, based on our life experience, we will not have had the time to accumulate as many resources as someone who's older would have done. Yes. Right? So then we kind of need that backing to take our ideas to reality. And even in terms of nonprofits, the whole idea about like securing grant funding as a grassroots or as a young person can seem so overwhelming. So a lot of guidance is needed in that front in order to actually take the idea to the next stage.
I hear you, I hear you, I hear you, Janine Shepherd. I hope everyone else hears you as well. You're majoring now in neuroscience and economics. You want to start this agricultural education project. There's so much more that you still want to do at a very young age, 23, and you have a long life ahead of you. And clearly you have your eyes set in the right direction. After all, you are an achiever. And so, Janine, we're happy to have you here with us this morning as one of our exceptional Caribbean young people. And it's our pleasure to salute you today and keep the great work up, keep the focus on, keep the pressure on us adults as well to make the change, to allow you to be able to be your best self as well. Janine, most of all, thank you for coming with us this morning and all the best going forward.
Thank you so much, and you guys have a great day.
Likewise. Thank you so much indeed. Janine Shepherd, she is at the moment studying in the United States. She's of Jamaican parentage, but she is doing great work. She is the founder, board co-chair, and president of Youths for Excellence Limited, a non-profit organization. And as she's just told us, she told us, us as adults, we need to put some action behind our words. Let's give them the support that they require. We're going to take a break here, and we're coming back with more on Morning Barbados.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
Legislation governing safe zones in Barbados.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
So it's 2.5 minutes after 7 o'clock. Let's get an update on the news now. Here is Shane Seeley.
Here's your 7 a.m. headline news for this Thursday morning. There are mounting calls for the scrapping of the current legislation governing safe zones in Barbados. The latest call is coming from the Barbados Association of Medical Practitioners in a statement issued yesterday. This comes on the heels of similar concerns raised by the Barbados Nurses Association after both entities, along with the Barbados Dental Association, met virtually up to late Tuesday night with the Minister of Health and Wellness, Lieutenant Colonel Jeffrey Bostick. It was during the meeting that medical professionals asked for a greater level of clarity. BANT President Dr. Linda Williams is calling for further consultation after doctors in her association voted by a 75% majority to suspend the policy.
The Barbados Association of Medical Practitioners has recommended on many occasions that COVID-19 vaccination be required of healthcare workers as a public health measure for protection of vulnerable members of the population. This measure has existing precedents and is an accepted standard worldwide, along with COVID-19 testing according to risk. We are disappointed, however, that the Emergency Management COVID-19 Safe Zones Directive 2021, while apparently attempting to achieve public health objectives, was developed in haste and apparently without consultation. We believe that the concept of a safe zone, in which the public would have to reveal vaccination status or test results, should not be applied for access to health care. While we accept the Ministry of Health and Wellness's explanation that this was not the intent, the ambiguity in the wording of the legislation has led to unacceptable confusion for patients in the past few days. We believe that there are also implications for the terms and conditions of work for healthcare employees with respect to existing labour legislation that seem not to have been considered. Healthcare workers who have sacrificed tirelessly throughout this pandemic should not bear the brunt of government's missteps.
While prospects for tourism in the coming months are looking promising on paper, the success of the winter tourist season will also hinge on the level of vaccination here on the island. And this vaccination for COVID-19, and the chairman of the Barbados Tourism Marketing Incorporated, Roseanne Myers, has been speaking to the Morning Report, putting this issue into perspective. According to her, there is growing competition across the globe for market share in the tourism industry, and having more tourism workers vaccinated will put Barbados in a better position to capitalize on the high demand for leisure travel.
When the world is completely open, or more open than it is, because there's still destinations that haven't fully opened, in summer 2022, we're going to be fighting for our lunch. So the best defense, you have an island where you have a population that is 70–80% of the eligible persons are vaccinated, you have a testing regime in place, and you are still following some level of protocol that allows you to have parties, to have events, entertainers can get back to work. That is really what this change means.
The BTMI chairman made the comments as the national vaccination rate closes in on the 50% mark, and around 60% of the eligible population is also vaccinated here in Barbados. Meanwhile, 5 people, 2 women and 3 men, are the most recent victims of COVID-19 here in Barbados. An 88-year-old woman died on Sunday, November the 7th, at the accident and emergency department of the Queen Elizabeth Hospital. 3 of the deaths occurred on Tuesday, November the 9th. A 60-year-old woman who passed away at the Harrison Point Isolation Facility. An 87-year-old man, he died while at the A&E department. And an 89-year-old man died at the Queen's College Isolation Facility. Additionally, a man aged 84 lost his fight with COVID-19 yesterday at the Blackman and Gollop Isolation Facility. All of the deceased were Barbadians and all were unvaccinated. Their deaths bring the total number of persons who have succumbed to the virus here in Barbados to 188. And a total of 335 people, 155 males and 180 females, were identified as COVID-19 positive yesterday by the Best dos Santos Public Health Lab. The facility conducted 2,078 tests. Of the new cases, 79 people were under the age of 18, and there are now 899 people in isolation facilities and 6,413 people in home isolation. And that's it for this edition of our 7 a.m. Headline News. I am Shane Seeley. It's back over to you, Pearson.
Shane, thank you. Our time is 8 minutes after 7 o'clock, a break, and we're back with more on Morning Barbados.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you. Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
The clock says it's 10 and a half minutes after 7 o'clock. I say it's time for you to give me a call on 228-5562 or 228-5563 because we have a question for you, because here comes today's Crumbs question of the day. 228-5562 or 228-5563. You talk to me, then you give me your answer. So what do you want to know? Here's today's question of the day. The question is, which Crumbs location opens 365 days a year? And 366 on a leap year, naturally. Which Crumbs location opens 365 days in a year? Can you tell me by calling me on 228-5562 or 228-5563? Which Crumbs location opens 365 days a year? Good morning to you. Hello.
Hi, good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir. Where are you watching us from?
Christchurch.
Christchurch. And what's your answer for me?
Is it Crumbs Eagle Hall?
Don't ask me questions. I want answers from you.
Well, I'm going with Crumbs Eagle Hall.
Why are you going with Crumbs Eagle Hall?
Because it was the first Crumbs to open, and I think it probably does the most business at this point in time.
And so that justifies it for being open 365 days a year?
Yeah, I'm just going with that for now.
When do you open the one in town 365 days a year?
No, because you see, it's not that busy in town, on Sundays and stuff like that. So no.
What about the one in St. Philip? Wouldn't that be open 365 days a year?
I'm not too sure about the one in St. Philip, but
there's one in Oistins then. There's one in Oistins. Wouldn't that open 365 days a year?
I'm not sure about that one, but I'm sticking to the one in Eagle Hall.
What about the one in Speightstown? Couldn't that open 365 days a year?
It's possible.
So why you choose Eagle Hall? Because it was the first?
Because it was the first, and it was the main branch, so I sticking with the main branch.
But the head office is in Wildy.
Yes, it's true. But that part don't open 365 days a year.
Are you sticking to this as you really let it go?
Yes, please.
Fair enough, if that's the opposition. Where in Christchurch are you?
I'm in Regency Park, Christchurch.
Just down the hill from us here, Regency Park. All right. You know what? I'll be easy with you. You're right. You're absolutely right. It is indeed. I tried everything under the sun to make you second guess yourself, and you stuck to your game. Yeah. Well done to you, sir, Mr. Regency Park. You're right. Eagle Hall is that one location that's open every day. In other words, every day of the year you can find Crumbs Bakery open at Eagle Hall. Thank you so much, sir. Congratulations. Stay on the phone. We'll take some other details from you. He's absolutely right. Eagle Hall, the Crumbs Bakery at Eagle Hall is open 365 days a year. That makes it every day of the year. And if it's on a leap year, it's 366. Well done. We're going to take a break here. When we come back, we meet another young, enterprising, and exceptional young Barbadian. Stay with us.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
Sixty minutes after 7 o'clock now. This next exceptional young man, he hails from the large school. He was the head boy at some point there. He is actually the youth ambassador also for the YMCA. His voice you will hear during the morning devotions this week as they mark Worldwide YMCA Week. His name is Samuel Boston. Good morning to you, Samuel.
Hi, good morning, Pearson. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. I see I remembered your name. Yeah, all week long when Samuel came in last week to do his recordings here, I kept saying, what's your name again? What's your name again? Samuel Boston it is. Samuel, well done on all the work you've been able to do with those recordings. Really good work. Thank you so much. Talk to me a little bit about your work as a youth ambassador with the YMCA.
Okay, well, it's a role that has been in the process over the past couple of months. I've been in contact with the General Secretary of the YMCA, Shea Greenwich, and we have been trying to see how best we can have a younger person from the Barbadian population be a part of the YMCA and its legacy, and how best we can carry that forward. So most of the work done so far has been online, has been virtual, but we're hoping to be able to get into community soon and be able to work with the Y campus that we have there in Bridgetown and make some changes happen and continue bringing the help that YMCA has been doing for the past 141 years and just ensuring that Barbados is much better than when it started 141 years ago.
Why are you giving back to society in the way that you are? Why?
Well, I've been fortunate enough to have been able to be around people who have been givers all my life. Whether it been my mother and father, coming here from Barbados, from Guyana, sorry, and ensuring that I had a good life here from the community that I found myself in here, whether it been my next door neighbor or persons who just took interest in me from school or being in my community. And it's only right that I pay the way forward, that I be a gift to this world and help as much as I possibly can.
There are a lot of people, young people today, who say, all right, I'll do it, but what are you going to give to me? You know, but you're saying, I'll do it, you don't have to give to me anything, because my greatest satisfaction is?
Well, when it comes to that satisfaction, like I said before, I'm from a pretty white Caribbean background in terms of my mother being of Guyanese and St. Lucian ancestry and me living here in Barbados, and my great-great-grandmother actually being a Paris and coming from Barbados before she moved to Ghana. And so this is a roundabout way of me coming back home several generations after. So Caribbean as my home. I was given the opportunity to travel to Europe in 2016, where I visited Germany, the Czech Republic, and Austria. And through the interactions that I had with a number of other young people at that point in time, during the Global Young Leaders Conference, I realized that, hey, we in the Caribbean are really exceptional. We are ones that punch above our own weight, and I don't think enough students, enough young people in Barbados understand our potential and how much we could possibly change the world if we're given the opportunity, given the chance. So coming back from that trip, I really wanted to ensure that I played my part in ensuring that young people know that the world around them is so much bigger than the 166 square miles that we're in, and our reach is so much further. So whether that be in arts, whether that be in sciences, in entrepreneurship, I want to ensure that I use my voice and my gift of speaking to ensure that these young people do as much as they can to really impact the Caribbean, impact the world.
You said, having traveled to Europe, you were pleasantly surprised that we are punching above our weight. There are things that we have here that make us exceptional and different and powerful. Can you hone in on some of those for me? I'd like to be able to know what those are, the opportunities you see that we as younger people are squandering.
I wouldn't say we're squandering it per se. Squandering is a bit of a strong word. But in terms of our cultural values, whether it be the sense of community that we have, the background of industrious hard work and creative work ethic, not just being able to work hard, but do it creatively. And we see it in the artists that we have. We see it in people like Myanmar. She's currently leading small island developing nations going forward. And the Barbadianesque background that she brings to the table in any world discussion shows that we see in our culture, music, in our food, in our landscape, and how it inspires those that create art and make videos and in every other aspect.
You know, Samuel, you get so involved in so many different things. You've worked with the Ashley Lashley Foundation. You've been a part of the Schools Against Non-Communicable Diseases, that initiative formed by Ashley Lashley. You've been a part of the Miss Barbados World and the team there, Positive Vibes, Creative Revolution, Small Enterprises for Education and Development, Seed. You've done so much in your little years here on Earth. Where do you find the time for balance, and which one of all of those areas do you think you're most passionate about?
Life is done for me in 50-minute segments. um, I try my best to be able to do as much as I can in those small minutes of time, planning ahead, um, mentally preparing myself for the day has often been the best way to go about it. In terms of where my passion lies the most, it is hands down with young people. It is in us not leaving our background or culture behind, but embracing it and using that to innovate. Whether it be in entrepreneurship or in our social decisions and development that we take our island through in the next decade or so. That is my passion, and it's my hope to be able to facilitate that in whichever way possible.
You said use our culture, and part of it I know is your passion for drumming as well. So
Definitely.
what was it that started this interest in drumming?
Oh, well, by the time I was 14 years old, I realized I was still a very shy person. I wasn't the person that would be able to go into any room and have just a regular candid discussion. If I knew you well enough, then great, we'd have a good time. I'd be able to open up and bring jokes to the table. And what drumming did for me was it helped me to place myself in a position where there was a lot of attention on me and be able to express myself, be able to add that passion and love for music and love for being around people and projecting it in a way that I had to work up at the confidence and maintain the energy and whatnot. So that's one of the main reasons I'm thankful for drumming.
When you look around you and you see other young men your age, you give me your assessment of them and what they're doing and what you see to be some of the things that they need to perhaps do better going forward.
Well, there's an undoubtable amount of potential within the young men we have here in Barbados, within the young men across the region. Times have shifted, and some of the ideas of what we think masculinity should look like has begun to evolve. Our roles in our society and our culture has been changing, has been shifting. Because of our socialization, whether it been at home, in our communities, in the working environment, we as a collective body of young men to tap into the shifting and realize that our roles are changing. Whether it be in the instance of what we provide for our communities. There have been so many unfortunate circumstances and incidences where we see young men being caught up in violence, and we also see young men who are innovative and trying to start new businesses. So there's the duality of it, and creating spaces where we allow young men to safely, COVID safely, communicate with each other and discuss the shifting that we're experiencing, and empowering them to be the answer to many of the community and many society's problems instead of being the statistic as relates to violence or crime or unemployment as we're being faced with today.
I now see why Shay Greenwich recommends you highly. She really, really does. Samuel Boston, Youth Ambassador with the YMCA, also one of those representing All Greens Barbados. What is All Greens Barbados?
Well, All Greens Barbados is a relatively new company. We started in 2015, and it is central to many of the things that I value in that. As a greening company, it looks at using newer technologies in agriculture like hydroponics and applying it to the Barbadian context. Many of the bits of data and research that we get as it relates to cultivation of crops and agriculture often come from places like North America and Europe. And when we try to apply it to the region, or we try to apply it to the Barbadian climate, we have so many issues and problems, whether it be setting up a greenhouse. Many of the plants that we have, the reasons why they need to be in greenhouse in that trap heated environment is so that we can get them to germinate. But in Barbados, we already have the warm, lovely climate. And if we stick at 1.5, it won't go too hot, but we already have that warm climate. And so some of the processes that we try to then implement don't always work. All Greens is a company that is using technology, and it's innovating and seeing where best we can draw technologies from, whether it be in South Africa, whether it be New Zealand, whether it be India, and we're applying it here, and we're using it to grow things like lettuce and whatnot in the most innovative ways, without using any soil, just having them set in water and having the nutrients and everything go through the tubes. And through that, we're able to monitor from computer systems how best to grow these plants, how best to grow them and have optimum yield. That changes the game for food security here in Barbados and across the region. And being a part of that brand and ensuring that I use my voice, use the eloquence I've been gifted with to ensure that that brand is out there is so important. We see how ships blocking up in the Suez Canal,
yes,
or ships being blocked up in San Francisco really hinders and cripples even the entire global system of trade and import and
supply
export.
chain, yes.
And if we are at the mercy of that constantly, we could find ourselves in a lot of trouble. So I feel as though the All Greens project is so important.
Yeah.
We also do landscaping, and we do lawn maintenance and lot clearing as well to ensure that we have enough funds to fund the development of the program and fund its research as well.
You're doing so much, Samuel Boston. And you're right, your voice needs to be heard even more. So congratulations on all you've done thus far. Keep doing well what you're doing too, and encouraging other young people like yourself to be a part of the move for positive change. Samuel, we're glad to have you here this morning as one of our exceptional young people. Keep pressing on and moving forward, and of course being your best self always. Thank you for joining us this morning.
Thank you, really appreciate it, and I really enjoyed the conversation. You have a wonderful day.
Likewise. Samuel Boston, indeed, right here on Morning Barbados. We're going to take a break here, and we're coming back with more on Morning Barbados. Our next guest this Thursday morning is only 10 years old. She hails from Pakistan. She is their youngest climate change activist, and she is our guest this morning. Iman Khan, good morning to you. I can't hear her at the moment. Let's see if we can get that sorted out. But she's going to talk a little bit about her work as an ecopreneur. Her name is Iman Khan, and she's a Hay ambassador from Pakistan. There's a rhyme in there somewhere. Let's see if we get your voice coming through now. Good morning, Iman.
Good morning, Mr. Peterson. Can you hear me now?
There you are. Yes, I can hear you now. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. You're 10 years old. You're an ecopreneur. You are a climate change activist, but you're only 10 years old. What is it about you that moved you enough to say, I'm going to look around me, I see my climate, I see what's happening in our climate, and I want to do something about it?
Yeah, so I really like to travel. Pakistan has many beautiful places to visit. Our valleys are really, really beautiful. I exceptionally like our Swat Valley. And in the Swat Valley, as I went on over there, I saw that many things were changing over there. So, one, that there was lots of trash piling everywhere, and this was a really good tourist attraction. It still is. It's the Mahudan Lake, and it has glistening blue waters and little patches of land between the river or the lake, you can call it, and it has little forests over there. And yeah, so I visited that place 3 years later, and I saw there was a lot of deforestation happening, and there was a lot of trash piling near the lake, and it was really sad seeing all this. And my doll, which I call Fizza, is a eco-friendly doll which teaches children about climate change through a portal called Earth Warrior Pakistan. So the idea for that, it came like I saw this really disturbing picture on the net. It was a crab, a hermit crab. It was stuck in a plastic doll's head, and plus one, I really like marine life, so that was really sad to see. So that's why I got my idea of Fizza.
And so Fizza is this 100% cotton wool doll. How have young children like yourself responded to this doll, and do they understand the story and behind that doll?
Yeah, they do. Like this doll is for like every age, and it's a Pakistani doll, so it comes in an attire like the picture you see is in Balochi attire, and like yeah, that's it. And the children, like those are above 7, so they also have access to the portal. It's for 15 and above. It's for Pakistani children and all the children for the globe. And if you want to sign up, you can go to www.earthwarriorspakistan.org.
You're also very passionate about recycling of wood and plastic. Why is that also part of your journey?
Yeah, so when I started this when I was 6 years old, I had a pitch at the Nest.io, and over there, first I started recycling wood and making magnets, and I started recycling plastic. And so, but my trainer Franz, when I went to Climate Launchpad, he told me that you can't do everything. So then that picture came in my head about the doll of the doll and the hermit crab, and that's how I got Fizza.
So we're seeing some of your creativity, how you've used wood and plastic and other natural resources around you to create beautiful art. And that's what it's all about, to heighten our awareness that what we thought was something that we're discarding indiscriminately can actually be used in other ways and be recycled to make purpose of it. Now, you've also written your children's book on the climate, and there's so much more that you've done. You're only 10 years old. Who motivated you to, I mean, you said you saw these things and you felt a way about it, but you must have seen someone doing it before that you thought, I'd like to be like them. Is there anyone like that?
No, quite not. I figured out about Greta Thunberg when I was quite into Iman's Peekaboo, my overall project. So the first presentation I actually did in my school was about renewable energy and how that could help when I was I think I was 5 years old. So yeah, and that I think that sparked a bit.
Yes.
And all the presentations I did actually were made out of recycled material.
The climate change conference is ongoing as we speak in Glasgow. What do you think of that COP26, and what do you hope to be the outcomes?
I hope to. One thing I like to add about on the COP26, I've noticed their ambassadors are Unilever, and Unilever, well, it's a really big contributor in plastic and climate change. So, one, I don't understand about that, and I read about this article of China banning a bit of their fossil fuel industry. So yeah, I further hope that our world leaders can also do anything, because Pakistan is a developing country like Afghanistan, but we are still the most affected on climate change. Pakistan currently is on the 8th on climate change risk index.
Do you think you'll ever grow tired of being a climate change activist?
No, I don't think, unless we drop a bit on this and the climate gets like it's okay.
Like if it returns to being okay, then you'll ease up just a bit. But for now, you'll keep the pressure on because you want to see the change. So when you look at yourself, and because you're only 10 again, what do you want to become? What do you want to be?
In the near future, I want my portal, Earth Warrior Pakistan, want to reach to 20 million kids in the next 10 years. And if I do drop the subject on climate change, which I don't know if it's likely, or I want to be an environmental scientist.
Well done. Iman Khan, your head is in the right space. You're doing everything so well, and you're inspiring so many other young people your age and older as well to do more, to not just sit by and watch it go by, but to actively engage in life, to make the change that is critical to living. And so this morning, with all that we are seeing, all of the different places and spaces and achievements that you've made thus far at 10, we want to congratulate you, and we only want to wish you the very best going forward. We've reached across to Pakistan today to salute you as one of our exceptional young people in the world. And so we congratulate you on that. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much.
You're
Thank you so
very
much for
welcome.
inviting me.
You are very, very welcome indeed. Thank you. What a darling she is. 10 years old, Iman Khan of Pakistan. We're going to take a break here and we're coming back with more on Morning Barbados. 20.5 minutes now to go to 8 o'clock this Thursday morning. Our exceptional young people are really putting bright smiles on our faces, inspiring us in some very significant ways. The next person we'll meet is one who says last year she had to awaken all of her skills and to continue to just make the best use of herself. She's smiling already. Angel Doyle is her name. Look at you. And she's running Angel's Kitchen. Good morning, Angel.
Good morning to you, Pearson. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you for asking. How are you doing?
I'm great. Brilliant.
I just love your story. You said June 1st, 2020, when I decided to wake up my sleeping talents and use them as a means to survive. So talk to me about what happened on May 31st that caused you to wake up on June the 1st and say, I'm going to wake up my sleeping talents.
Well, prior to that, all of that, probably for all of May and before that, I just found myself in a spot where I wasn't working anymore due to COVID and what's not, and I needed to survive. I live on my own. I pay my own rent, everything, and that was taken away from me. So I just needed to find a way to survive and to bake. I've been baking during all the COVID, cooking all kinds of things, and people have been loving them on Instagram. So I decided, you know what, one day I baked a banana bread and I was like, I think I can sell banana bread.
Cheese on bread, girl.
And literally that's...
I love banana bread, yes.
Yeah.
And then voila, here it is, you operate Angel's Kitchen.
Yeah.
Because
And
you made a determination at that point, you know what, nah man, I'm no longer just going to be doing this to sell one-off, I'm actually going to make a business out of this. So what was it, having made that determination on June the 1st, that you're going to get off that laziness and make a business of it, what was the next step so that you are sustainable?
well, I guess the next step would have been to create a page, is what I did immediately after, so I could get myself out there and educate myself, give myself more knowledge on just the business behind it, which I'm still doing, by the way. I haven't figured it out all. And I would have put myself in a mini mart, you know, push myself in just little stages so I can see how it goes, learn from the experience in general.
So, but it's all you, or do you have other people around you who are helping you out on this journey?
I would say so, but it's just all me. But I would say my friends support me for sure. They share my posts, they buy my stuff. So I would say that my friends support me as long as I put it out there. But I had to do it for myself.
Yeah, and so you're learning a lot about yourself through all of this as well, because how resilient you truly are. And isn't it funny how suddenly you stumbled upon who your true self is, that you are stronger than you actually thought you were. And I'm so happy for that. So Angel's Kitchen, talk to me how it's going, what I can get when one visits Angel's Kitchen, and where can we find you on social media?
Well, you can find me on Angel's Kitchen 246 on Instagram. I also have my WhatsApp number there. You can find me on Facebook as well.
Right, we have it there on our screen. You can see that you're in Brighton Crescent. You can call 835-8378, 835-8378, or you can go on to Instagram at Angel's Kitchen 246. So great. So what's on the menu?
Right, so when you visit Angel's Kitchen, you would find a variety of banana bread. You can have from walnuts to fruits to chocolate chips. You have a chocolate swirl banana bread. All kinds of things you can have in your banana bread. We have pretzels, sweet and savory pretzels, coconut bread, yes, with coconut in the middle, yes.
Lord have mercy.
We give brownies, chocolate chip cookies, croissants,
yes,
you name it.
Look at the temptation. Look at the angel. How can you do this to me so early? I call yourself an angel. This is all looking so delicious. And I'm sure that a lot of people are actually, you know, consuming this as well. Oh.
Yeah. I actually
nice.
have a healthy choice too. This is a healthy choice that I have there. That is whole wheat, flaxseed, oats, cherries. Is very lightly sweetened with bananas, because I know there are a lot of people out there that are diabetic. Watch their diet.
Right.
So I also provide for people that have diabetes.
So if I said I wanted to have something that is either very low in sugar or no sugar at all, then you can actually do that for me. Can I call you and order what I want, or do I have to take from your menu?
I would work with you. I could work with you. Depends.
It all depends.
You can talk with me. Yeah, you can talk with me. I can start you out.
I like you. I can sort you out. So just call and talk. Let me talk. You can make it possible. And that's the whole magic of Angel's Kitchen. You make it possible. You make what is for some people impossible possible. And that's really, really good. I mean, that's the purpose of an angel after all, right? An angel to make it all possible. So if I wanted delivery as well, would you help me there, or do I have to come to you, or you come to me? Which is it?
Yes, please. We have delivery as well. You can come to me if you please. We can even do meetups, because not everybody can afford delivery at the point in time, or not everybody is able to get to me. So I would make an effort and meet you, and that's free of cost. You know, depending on if I have the time, because I also work as well.
Oh, okay. So
delivery is available.
And
there is a price map based on where you live. You can, you know, you will know where you live.
So you said to me, you're also, apart from running Angel's Kitchen, you're back for other forms of employment.
Yes.
So how do you balance your time here now? Because I mean, baking it easy.
I am trying to do that all now. I'm trying to balance my time and use it wisely. But I'm always using my time.
That is good. That is fantastic. If someone's watching, they're having a nice little party of their friends, and they figure that we need to have some of these delicious delights, whether it's for a brunch or so, can they call you and order in large quantities as well? Would you have the capacity to respond to that?
Yeah, I can. Definitely. We make it possible, as you said earlier.
Jeez, you look like I will charge you for my catchphrase here. Making the impossible possible. That's what Angel's Kitchen is all about. This is so super. So where do you operate from? Brighton Crescent? That's where I see on the flyer there. And so I can imagine the smells that emanate from your home, your space. I can imagine what your neighbors think as well. You know, when they smell it, you can't but want to as well. And that's the whole magic of Angel's Kitchen. Have you worked on things like packaging and branding and the like?
Yes, please. I just started. So this is my logo here. I'm not sure if you can see. Can you see?
Oh, right there. Yes, I see it now. Yes, A. Yes, the big A. We got it.
I just started. I started on packaging, how I would like my stuff to look.
Right.
And what's not. But I'm still in the process of all that.
I know you're still building and building and building. I'm told that there's the logo, folks. So when you see the packaging, you see this A in the circle or in the plate, whichever you choose. This is Angel's Kitchen. That is what you know to represent the quality that we've just been talking about. Now we're heading to our 55th anniversary of independence. I'm told you have an independence special on.
Yes, I do.
So talk to me.
So you can have either a coconut bread or a banana bread. It's a mix and match, so you can have that for just $15. Yes, it is the traditional coconut bread with the coconut in the middle, with a crunchy top. I know how we Bajans love.
You got that right. With a cup of tea. With a cup of tea.
Yeah. Of tea, exactly, with cheese on top. Anybody else like cheese on top of this food, right?
For sure. So if you want that real authentic Bajan sweet bread with it in the middle, I haven't got to tell you what is in the middle there, and the crunch from the top, you know, the crust has to be a little bit firm. Look at that, look. Oh,
yes, please.
That makes a beautiful breakfast right there, or snack any time of day, really. I love tea and I love the bread as well. So this is what we get from Angel's Kitchen. There's an independent special on. You can get the banana bread and the regular coconut bread.
Yes, please.
For $15?
Yes.
That is a great special right there, folks. Look at that. A mix and match special. Get yourself a traditional sweet bread with filling and a classic banana bread. If you want to add some additional flavors, it's just an additional $2. But when you get a mix and match, you spend just $15. And you have a large enough, and with enough quantity, you could feed almost the 5,000 for sure. But this offer lasts until Independence Day. And once again, we want to encourage you to go onto Angel's Kitchen on Instagram and or call. If you can break the flyer again, let me just remind people of your telephone number. Your telephone number is
835-8378. You can WhatsApp there, or you can DM me on Instagram.
Right.
On Angel's Kitchen.
246 Brighton Crescent. It is good. It's a taste of heaven when you enjoy your delights from Angel's Kitchen. Angel, you are doing so very well. You're still very young, a young woman, and you're balancing your time very wisely and very smartly. And I love the fact that you saw your situation and you stood up and did something about your situation. Too many times, younger people just throw their hands in the air and figure that's the end of it. No, you said, no, that's not the end of me. I was not built to break, as Whitney Houston said. And certainly you said it to yourself as well. So I want to thank you and commend you on the business endeavor that you're on, and I really hope that it grows and grows and grows, and eventually one day it will be everywhere that we can get ourselves some of your delights from Angel's Kitchen. You're for us this morning one of our exceptional young people, Angel Doyle. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me. Enjoy your day.
You do too. Thank you so much indeed. Oh, it looks so good, folks. Get onto Instagram, Angel's Kitchen 246, or call the numbers and you will get yourself some of those delicious delights from Angel's Kitchen. We're coming right back with more after this. 8 minutes now to go to 8 o'clock. Our next guest is the founder and chief executive officer of Nexus, which he describes is aimed at being a never-ending series of creative energies. I like that. I want to understand what it means, though. Nicholas Boyce is his name. He is the co-founder of Nexus. Good morning to you, Nicholas.
Good morning, and thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming through. Nexus, tell me about the company and why you describe it as being a never-ending series of creative energies.
Well, simply put, I first started Nexus as a unique and creative process to not only just, how should I put it, go forward into expressing who I was as a creative. Originally, I owned a platform before this called NEC, which is quite literally how I fused the words together. Nexus meaning a new beginning or creative series, and NEC being my personal platform, being the never-ending creative. So I fused the two together and came up with the idea to press that out into the world. Through COVID, I did some classes and sessions, and through encouragement from some creative peers, two in particular especially, Dre DeCarlo and Shay Odram, who are both stylists in their own right, I eventually decided to pursue the journey on my own. So as of October this year, on the 20th, I would have celebrated 1 year in business, not only through my journey as a stylist, but also in teaching younger creatives to pursue that and to assist them as well with their model portfolios.
So you are a stylist. At the core of all of this, you're a stylist. And Nexus...
At the core of all of this, I'm a creative.
Thank you for the correction. But as a creative, you're creative in being a stylist. And so talk to me a little bit about that and your journey as a stylist and some of the places you've been or people who you've interacted with as a stylist.
Let's start with my favorite client, Lee Phillips, who you should know is a local singer here on the island. I currently assist her with curating her outfits and her looks for most of her video shoots as of late. Her last two prominent music videos as well, including her Lockdown album cover, which would have been featured this year as well. That is one of my favorite clients. Alongside that, I would have done shoots alongside some of my students. For example, with the curation of our head photographer, Stefan Terrell, we would have done this year a display of Black history in which we had a minor hiccup where we could not get all the models we needed to. So I acted as a surrogate to assist and make sure that the shoot came off.
So what does a stylist look for in the canvas known as the body of an individual? So that you can help me define what it is that you need to bring out so that I present my best self for those who see me. What is it that you look for?
Well, let me first start with my own process. What I first do is, once you have reached out to me as an individual, I normally send forward a small questionnaire and form to fill out. This form includes everything, including your name, age, gender, pronouns, current fashion inspirations, what your style is currently like, alongside other questions as well. Through the process of this information, I then go about in trying to recreate the reality that you wish for me to put forward to you as an individual to make sure that we are as accurate as possible. Perfection is, of course, impossible, but there's nothing wrong with trying to achieve near perfection.
So how have people responded, though, to your offer here at Nexus to help them achieve near perfection?
I would say the process is going quite well. As I would have mentioned, our last project, the display of Black history, was well received. So far that it was received as far as the United States within Florida, and as well it reached the curator in Paris. So I'd say on both a local and international spectrum, the reach and the impact has been phenomenal for just us being in business for only a year.
Well done. Is it you a sole operator or you have other people working with you?
My team currently consists of 5 individual units. As I would have mentioned before, Stefan Terrell as our head photographer, Akini Roberts as our traveling photographer, Donnie Haynes, who is also the current visual artist for the year, is our visual artist. Jerome Brooms is currently our makeup artist and uses his team unit, the Code Black Makeup Collective. And Lee acts as our PR manager for the moment, alongside Right PR Services, who as well I need to thank for this opportunity.
So, for anyone watching then, tell them why it is important to engage your company as we look at our imaging and our brand.
In less words than I can expect to explain it, the truth of the matter is, the first thing anyone notices when you step into a room, whether you're at school, whether you're at business, whether you're just casually going out for the day, is quite literally your appearance. Your appearance literally sells you before you, not even just before, but as you are walking into the room. So learning how to redefine your identity for your business, more importantly for yourself, is both something that is equally as important, but it is also a process and it takes time. The tricky part is some people might know what they want, but they might not know the best way to execute it. So we here at Nexus put forward our efforts into making sure that we can create and define that alongside you to help you bring forward and to put your best foot forward as well.
And the beautiful thing is a one-stop agency as well, because you have the makeup artist, the photographer, the public relations, everybody, the visual artists, everybody falls under your brand Nexus. And certainly it's one-stop shopping if you're looking to redefine your brand or strengthen your look and your brand as well. Nexus is the company to call. What do you do for fun though, Nicholas? Or is this the fun?
Well, this, of course, this is the fun. This is definitely the fun. The process, the interactions, everything. So alongside this, I am also a poet. I am also a former model, so I enjoy going out and interacting on both of those fields. Part of my day jobs are that I am a SEO blogger for a local article company here called Locate Barbados. I am also a part of a hiking school trekking that we do hiking every now and again, but of course due to COVID that would have been on pause. I also enjoy going out, I write, I read. I am an avid gamer. I'm a huge nerd and I'm not ashamed of that.
In other words, you're not lazy. You do things. You're constantly going. All right, so for anyone who wants
to get around.
Yeah, that's great. So for anyone who wants to engage your company, how can we contact you?
You can contact me via our Instagram page at Nexus, spelled NECXUS, or you can personally message me at our contact number at 829-0308. Which, of course, if you go to either end, you will receive a notification for our email to email us for our questionnaire. The email is thenexus@gmail.com, THENECXUS@gmail.com.
All right, Nicholas, we've got to leave it there. Thank you so much for joining us. You're one of our exceptional young people as well. Keep doing what you're doing. You're doing it well. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me, and have a pleasant morning.
Likewise to you. All right, folks, that's it for today. I really want to thank you so much for joining us today. For my small crew, there's Ruel Ford, my producer Nadia Foster, our technical director Anderson Nurse, sound engineer Christopher Blenman. There's Tamisha Green at Master Control. The little crew says to you, have yourselves a good today. We'll see you tomorrow.
Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Barbados, get up. Good morning.